So chapter 29 is right around the corner. The PTB is scheduled for Wednesday, August 9th, meaning teasers are just around the corner. And as of the posting of this video, we haven't received any major confirmed leaks for which license it is. During this video series, we've covered a lot of different theories and speculations that exist, and today we're going to add on to those theories, including going over something that Tony Todd said at Comic-Con that he probably shouldn't have. From there, we'll debate which license is most likely for chapter 29 based on evidence and theories. Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. Don't mind my hair shook up. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. I'm also live on Twitch right now streaming the live release of Nick Cage into Dead by Daylight. Link for that in the description below. It's really exciting going into the teaser week for this next chapter, not really knowing which license is coming next. The chapter hasn't been officially leaked, so it's unknown which license it is. Therefore, any big license seems possible. One license I wanted to focus on before we go into one of the frontrunners is a wildcard license, The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has been a really active franchise. Dying Light just announced a crossover with The Walking Dead at the 2023 Summer Game Fest. This is something that I teased initially with Negan's bat and the barbed wire on his bat.
Pilgrims, summer is coming, and with it, a lot of cool stuff will make its way to Dying Light to stay human. Trust me, for one of them you will want to get your butt barbed wired. Very soon, you will get the deadliest summers to date.
And then they later confirmed it that they're having a collaboration with the Walking Dead franchise and Skybound Entertainment.
At Summer Game Fest, our short teaser, you get all of the clues. And yeah, you got the right. And I'm pretty sure that you recognize it. It's Lucille, my Bible wire bat. And that's mean, like you guessed, that we partnering with the Walking Dead comics.
Yeah.
Do you want to hold it?
Yeah, I want to hold it.
Like,
can I touch it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Give it to him.
Give it to me because you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, I know, but be careful.
It's always
I love
happening.
her. But it's not, yeah, and you can jump to Villador, take that beauty and make the mayhem there.
Kill some infected.
And yeah, kill the infected. And there is more like Michonne's katana. And more, but I will not tell you. I zip.
But we are planning more.
Yeah,
But we can't say anything more about it right now.
I can. You can ask Lucille, but I'm not sure that she will tell you something.
That's enough for me, thank you.
Now, of course, if we want to see any of the characters from the TV show, that'd have to be through Skybound Entertainment and AMC. So this collaboration with Dying Light actually isn't through the AMC Entertainment license, but in the past, we've seen the AMC version as well as the Skybound version collaborating with many different third parties. The main reason I don't consider The Walking Dead a frontrunner is because Behavior did not include that license on the survey. The survey went over every possible license that could be added to the game in the future, and they excluded The Walking Dead. So if Chapter 29 is somehow Rick Grimes with Negan and a new Walking Dead map, that would mean that Behavior purposely excluded that license from the survey. I guess a possible reason that they would have done that is because they only asked us to select 3 options, so there were only limited options that we could pick. Since you're only allowed to pick 3 options in that survey, some people think that Behavior may have excluded the upcoming licenses. If Chapter 29 is somehow The Walking Dead, we'd have to start looking into the licenses that weren't on that survey for Chapter 30, I think, like Slenderman or Chucky. I don't think that this case is the most likely, but I think it's worth mentioning. Frontrunner number 1 that we're going to talk about is Candyman. They confirmed at the anniversary stream that the next 2 licenses are going to be very big licenses, and Candyman checks out as one of those big licenses. We talked about the fact that Dweet tweeted a picture of a bee, and some people were wondering, like, well, is Dweet saying that this next chapter is going to be Candyman? After doing some research, I don't think that Dweet necessarily knows the next killer. I think most likely what was leaked to Dweet is the entire anniversary stream, and so that's how Dweet was able to tell that Chapter 30 is licensed. Because the roadmap was leaked, the trailer was leaked, and then the information about Chapter 30 being licensed was also leaked. That was all information that was in the anniversary stream. The Nick Cage trailer was also leaked by DBD Leaks too. So it seems like a lot of the information that they got was leaked from the anniversary stream itself, not necessarily told directly. Someone also sent me screenshots of the conversations about this in the DBD Leaks Discord as well. People were talking about this update on the uploading process. I think this was around the time that the stream got leaked to DBD Leaks, and someone even here references the stream. Masuster didn't know it at the time, but I'm pretty sure somehow Dweet or someone within DBD Leaks got access to this anniversary stream. If that is the case, and DBD Leaks got their information solely from that anniversary stream, that kind of goes against the fact that Dweet tweeted that Candyman-like teaser. So I'd say that Candyman theories are not going to be related to that tweet in any way. There's also no obvious survivor for a Candyman Chapter 2. This next chapter is coming in with a new survivor, new killer, and new map, and no one really fits the bill. Helen Lyles actually became a Candy Woman at the end of the Candyman movie. The protagonist in the new Candyman reboot movie actually became like a Candyman at the end of that. So there's not really an obvious survivor, and that's working against Candyman 2. On Thursday, July 20th, Tony Todd was actually on the panel at Comic-Con in San Diego, where he talked about Marvel's new Spider-Man game. There was this panel talking about Marvel's Spider-Man 2 game. Tony Todd also referenced that he's working on a new game, but he didn't disclose the title. This is what he said.
And to be a part of the whole Spider-Man family and the Insomniac team and PlayStation, I am overjoyed. Sometimes I talk too much, but I've learned I was working on another game, and anyway, we're here now, and I can't wait to see the joy and excitement of everybody and this team and this fantastic franchise.
So here Tony Todd references that he was working on another video game recently and he actually didn't disclose the title. There's no actual confirmation of what this game is. Like, there's no public news of what game Tony Todd just referenced there at the Comic-Con panel. So people are wondering, like, could this possibly be like voice lines for a Candyman chapter in Dead by Daylight? This is really notable to me because if they were to bring in the original version of Candyman, we'd probably see Tony Todd voice lines, or that's ideally what we'd want to see, right? We saw voice lines with Doug Bradley, and if you recall, those voice lines actually were from a voice actor that was not Doug Bradley at first. Doug Bradley even said, "I was not contacted about these voice lines. I don't know anything about the Pinhead chapter and DVD." Behavior then removed the voice lines and then replaced them with actual Doug Bradley voice lines. The turnaround for that was pretty quick. They were able to integrate the voice lines in very quickly. The entire Hellraiser chapter was completed, and then they actually just threw in Doug Bradley's voice lines after the fact. So bringing in voice lines for Killer can very much be an end of the development kind of process. So if Tony Todd was just working on a new video game, it could really just be for Candyman voice lines in Dead by Daylight. It could be something that's after the Candyman chapter was fully developed and they pretty much just got the voice lines from Tony Todd at the very end of the entire process. So I think that's pretty compelling. No one knows what that video game was that Tony Todd was talking about, and for these reasons I think Candyman now has to kind of qualify as one of the front runners for that big license. One counterpoint to that is, even if Tony Todd is coming to Dead by Daylight as Candyman and that actually he was working on voice lines with Behavior and Secrets, that could have been for chapter 30 and that could have been for a Candyman paragraph chapter. That makes a lot of sense too, like no new map, just a Candyman paragraph, no survivor coming in with the chapter. I think that justifies having that as a possible counter argument to that theory. The next license that we're going to talk about is the Five Nights at Freddy's license, which is obviously a big enough license to qualify for what Behavior was talking about the anniversary stream. There's been a lot of FNaF rumors circulating around. There's even some new ones that I haven't actually mentioned on this channel. There were FNaF leaks posted on the DVD Leaks Reddit yet again, and it was taken down by the moderators of DVD Leaks. Suster also commented on the leaks and said, "Imagine doing a fake leak and naming one of your perks the same as an existing perk in the game. That perk was Deception." There was also hearsay of someone claiming that they were actually a leaker and that Springtrap is the next killer, and they kind of gave the perks and the power that was coming with the chapter, but it really is all kind of hearsay and nothing that can be confirmed or verified. It really all is hearsay, and therefore I'm not really going to count it for or against the Five Nights at Freddy's as a possible license for the next chapter. On top of that, I had more screenshots sent to me of Freddy Fazbear, Chica, and Bonnie. This is actually something that I haven't seen anyone really talk about. There's also a first look at the main menu with the stage there, and you can kind of see that this looks like a Five Nights at Freddy's theme. The models I was sent was all from U-Model and not Unreal Engine 4, which we kind of talked about in a previous video, the difference between U-Model and Unreal Engine 4. We'd expect to see like Dead by Daylight leaks in Unreal Engine 4 if it was coming directly from a dev, because that's the program that they use in Dead by Daylight. There would be no reason to use U-Model over Unreal Engine 4 for the leaks because you can already open the entire thing in Unreal Engine 4. I'm pretty sure most of the legitimate leaks that we've seen for Dead by Daylight come from Unreal Engine 4. I was also sent images of like a Five Nights at Freddy's environment. It didn't look textured. I don't know if that was a red flag. This all seems like it's kind of just made up to me and kind of just thrown together, probably. I was sent this video too of Freddy Fazbear walking down a hallway. It looks like this video is pretty well lit, but there's not really anything that's textured or colored. I don't really know very much about modeling, but I would expect the chapter to pretty much be done, and I don't know if that debunks this video. But anyways, I was just sent a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and I'm just kind of lumping it all together. There was two different things, really. I'm lumping it all together as just FNaF rumors. The reason I'm not really saying this is a point for Five Nights at Freddy's because we always have Five Nights at Freddy's rumors, and people kind of go to great lengths to fake things. So on top of that, these rumors are not believed by DVD Leaks, and DVD Leaks is kind of like the GOAT for leaks. Like, they know what they're looking at. Masuster's kind of taking a look at this supposed leaker that's emerged and does not believe that the leaker is being honest. Apparently, when sending screenshots of the files, I think we talked about these actual screenshots in a previous video, and Masuster was able to say like, well, the files are missing the global animation folder, and the person who supposedly is claiming that these are leaks didn't even know what that was, and Masuster's like, that would 1,000,000% be there. It seemed like a pretty solid reasoning from a trusted source to debunk the FNaF leaks, if I'm being honest. So that's definitely got to be a counterpoint, at least for those Five Nights at Freddy's leaks. It's still possible that the next chapter is Five Nights at Freddy's, but not related to those leaks, right? The FNaF anniversary date, the release of the first game, is August 8th. The PTB is on August 9th, which means that chapter 29 would be timed pretty nicely with the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter if it was chapter 29. I think that's a possibility, and some people think that that's a really really big talking point going into chapter 29. It's a really big chapter. It's a full chapter, and you'd expect to see Five Nights at Freddy's to be a full chapter. It's one of the biggest licenses that Behavior can bring into this game. The counterpoint to that is every franchise really has an anniversary date. We saw that Alien had a big Alien Day for their anniversary. We thought that Dead by Daylight chapter is going to be announced then, and it wasn't. Stranger Things Day came up, and there was going to be a Super Secrets. We thought that Netflix was going to announce the return of Stranger Things into this game, and they didn't. So every franchise has an anniversary, and it does seem kind of random if they're going to time it with the anniversary or not. If it's going to be like a Resident Evil kind of case where they time the chapter at the anniversary, or kind of just let big anniversaries of horror franchises come and go with no new chapter or any DVD content. Scott Cawthon also collaborates very rarely. That's, I think, pretty notable too. And the other side of the coin, Behavior and Scott are both working on movies with Blumhouse. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie and the Dead by Daylight movie are both through Jason Blum. So people were kind of wondering, like, could Behavior leverage that relationship with Jason Blum to talk to Scott about the FNaF license and DVD? That does seem like a possibility. I don't think FNaF is the front runner though. The next license we're going to talk about is the Friday the 13th license. That really checks out as a really big license to bring into this game, which Behavior said that 29 is a big license at the anniversary stream. A lot of people disagree because they think it's too soon after the lawsuit, which is why I'm going to quickly speed run the timeline of the lawsuit so we can get an exact time range for how long the lawsuit's actually been over. July 28, 2021, Corey Feldman leaks the lawsuit was resolved behind the scenes. Everyone thought it was BS, but it actually turns out that that was probably true back in July of 2021. There was no final date in court. This is something that the lawyers just negotiated behind the scenes, and it just abruptly ended. Everyone thought that that was actually BS, but that turned out to be true. That's from July 28, 2021. 2 months later, September 30th, 2021, Hollywood reporter Eric Gardner publicly brings the news that the lawsuit is over. Horror Inc., who lost the lawsuit to Victor Miller, could have appealed to the Supreme Court, but that never happened. And next year, on August 8th of 2022, the lawsuit's been over for a long time now. We received leaks from Roy Lee that the franchise is working on a new project. August 26th of 2022, Sean S. Cunningham leaked on Cameo that there was a new Friday the 13th reboot in the works. As of right now, it seems like that project was scrapped because he deleted the sentence that referenced that new project. But we know for sure that this reboot was planned since Cunningham actually said so in an interview. October 31st, 2022, Victor Miller and Horror announced that they're making a Friday the 13th TV series called Crystal Lake, and they have access to anything and everything in the franchise for that TV show. June 8th, 2023, Gun Media announces Friday the 13th game license will expire in their video game, which is expiring this year on December 31st. But this doesn't mean that Friday the 13th isn't licensable in a video game. On June 7th of 2023, it was leaked that there is a new Friday the 13th game in the works. This game has still not been announced, but it does seem likely that this leak was true. So Chapter 29 is scheduled for August 2023. The Friday the 13th lawsuit has publicly been over for a year and 11 months. However, the early leaks of that lawsuit being resolved, which were likely true, suggest that the lawsuit actually ended in private about 2 years and 1 month ago. In a recent Q&A, Behavior said a chapter can take up to 12 months to develop. This time window gives Behavior more than enough time to develop a Friday the 13th chapter if a deal was made anytime within 6 months of that lawsuit ending. And the fact that there's a new Friday the 13th game in the works, that means that Jason is definitely licensable into video games. Also, the Friday the 13th new game is not asymmetrical. This, apart from the fact that Jason is licensable into video games, further supports the theory that Friday the 13th is the next chapter. I mean, there's no reason for the license holders to make another asymmetrical game if they're licensing a chapter into DVD. I also think that Behavior could probably make a Friday the 13th chapter in faster than 12 months because Behavior has openly admitted that they've given the chapter a ton of thought.
Have you guys thought about how he would look like or work in your game? Is he like essentially...
We've thought about it.
You got to go ahead.
We've had time to think about it in the last 5 years.
So Behavior has likely already brainstormed powers for Jason that have just been on the back burner while the lawsuit was happening. The question really is, do we think that the license holders would be open to this collaboration? Like, would Behavior have been able to actually get a deal within 6 months of the lawsuit ending? That's the time window we're talking about here, and yes, I think that they could. Even before the lawsuit ended, we knew that the license holders were interested in a Dead by Daylight chapter. Matthew Cote from Behavior, Victor Miller from the upcoming Friday the 13th TV series, Sean Cunningham all seem like they'd want to do this collaboration. If you want to see interviews and evidence to support that claim, you can click on the title above. We already covered all of that information in a previous video. And that really is a compelling and relevant argument right now. The final frontrunner right now is Alien. That's a big license that checks out as a possible big license for Chapter 29. The strongest theory I've seen for Alien for Chapter 29 is Alien for 29, Predator for 30 theory. And this theory suggests that the next two big licenses are going to come from the same license holder, and therefore they're able to actually confirm that these are the next two licenses in the game, that they're going to be big licenses. And this is going back to the fact that Alien and Predator are from the same license holder, so if Behavior can guarantee two really big licenses, maybe they got it from the same people and they're just working with 20th Century Studio on these next two chapters. That's obviously not guaranteed, and my biggest problem with this theory is that we wouldn't get Dutch for the Predator chapter because Chapter 30 only is a licensed paragraph chapter. So I was like, does that make makes sense for Alien to be Chapter 29 and for Predator to be 30 with no Dutch. No Arnold Schwarzenegger coming with Chapter 30 if that's the case. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger actually voiced Dutch in the new Predator video game. They have his likeness for that game. Predator star Arnold Schwarzenegger reveals that he's reprising his role as Dutch for an upcoming video game in the franchise. This was released on March 13th of 2020, and this is what Arnold said about it. He said, "The other day, Predator came out, and I said to my girlfriend, let's watch the beginning. And we ended up watching the whole thing because it still held up today. Other movies don't hold up, but movies like Predator and the first Terminator really hold up, and it was really fun to watch." Interestingly enough, a week later, I was asked to do the same voiceover for a video game that is coming out about Predator. So it was great that I watched it to get back in that mood again to do the voiceover. And it looks like, based on this article right here, Arnold Schwarzenegger did not voice the Mortal Kombat version of the Terminator. On July 20th of 2022, Call of Duty announced that the Terminator was coming to COD. It came in Warzone and Vanguard as part of a Season 4 mid-season update. After teasing it for weeks, the iconic TI-800, commonly known as Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, came into the game, and it seemed like they had Arnold's likeness for that because it looked pretty similar to Arnold. The Terminator is also in Fortnite, but they don't have Arnold's likeness in that game. Would behavior go forward with a Predator chapter for Chapter 30 with no Dutch? That'd be kind of a similar situation to what we saw with Kersey Cotton in the Hellraiser franchise. I'm not really sure. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Another solid point going towards Alien for Chapter 29 theory is that behavior employees are pretty connected to the 20th Century Studios VIP for games. And the final point kind of going against Alien as Chapter 29 for me is when Ken Pajoro, the Disney employee, actually called attention to Alien as a possibility for the 7-year anniversary, and then that didn't happen. If there was a really big collaboration with 20th Century in the works at that time, I don't think Ken would have actually made any comments or raised attention to that. So I think that these are the frontrunners for Chapter 29. If I had to rank which ones I think are most likely, I think that the Friday the 13th is probably the front runner, and then Alien, and then Five Nights at Freddy's, and then Candyman. Let me know what you think your top picks are and why in the comment section below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. Also a reminder, I'm live on Twitch right now streaming Nick Cage and Dead by Daylight, link for that in the description below. That does it for this video. Goodbye.